Thank you so very much, and my congratulations and my gratitude to the board and the management of Pakistan Stock Exchange for arranging this seminar and for holding this lively and important debate. And I hope that this summit will not be a one-off event. It will now be a regular feature, and the stock exchange will be holding such seminars and summits every quarter or as feasible. I would like to make 4 or 5 points to the audience. The first is the benefits of a single market for securities. Although I understand that most of the participants of today's summit are already aware of the benefits already sold to the benefits that capital markets and single markets bring to the securities markets. But still, to state the obvious, I would like to emphasize that single markets in securities where all the buyers and sellers can quote their prices on a single platform, which is preferably an electronic platform, where the settlement takes place and clearing takes place through a single central counterparty, where the underlying securities are scriptless or paperless and are held by a professional custodian. These are major events. These are very, very important features of a developed and an efficient securities market. It brings transparency to the pricing. It brings scale. It brings many buyers and sellers at the same platform. It brings efficiency to the prices. It brings more liquidity to the market. It enhances investors' confidence. It expands investors' base as the market gains more credibility and more transparency. And of course, all these features lead to greater product development, greater innovation, and good things keep on happening both on the demand side and the supply side of the market. So all of us agree that a single market in financial securities, whether equity or debt, is a desirable goal, and we must strive to achieve it and to develop and enhance such markets. The second point I want to make
Recording in
is
progress.
my appreciation for the way equity markets have evolved and grown over the years in Pakistan. I think the three critical capital market institutions, the Pakistan Stock Exchange, the National Clearing Company, and the Central Depository Company, have matured a lot. Their systems have become very credible, very efficient over time. Most of the market abuses have been addressed. The systems are in place to address them. The surveillance systems, the settlement systems, and the technology for custody of securities, all of these have made major advances. And the market has become much more credible for listed equities. It may have certain flaws also, but I can confidently say that Pakistan's equity market infrastructure certainly stands out amongst one of the better markets and infrastructures around the world. But my third point is that when we come to the debt markets, the situation is not as promising as in case of equities. I think most of us would agree that the debt markets in Pakistan, despite that, if we bifurcate the entire financial market into debt and equity, most of us would agree that probably 80% or so consists of debt securities, and 15 to 20% of the market value consists of equity securities. But despite that, Our debt markets have remained fragmented. In case of government debt securities, the central bank has done a very good job. It has been holding public auctions of government securities in a competitive manner over the years. But the secondary markets have largely remained over-the-counter markets and largely fragmented. We have not been able to develop a single market for the debt securities, which has affected their pricing and which has affected investor participation and investor confidence. So this market, I would like to say, still suffers from many of the inefficiencies which can be addressed and rectified if we can also nudge and converge this market towards a more centralized market, just like that of equities. The fourth point is regarding government debt securities. Since over the years, the government has become the major borrower and the major issuer of debt securities, it was imperative that the government should take the lead and start issuing its debt on the stock exchange and start using the capital market infrastructure, all these institutions which have evolved and which have designed very efficient technologies to handle issuance of financial securities. So it was imperative that the government starts utilizing this infrastructure so that the investors become aware that the government debt securities will also be available through the same processes, can be traded in the same manner as equity securities are traded. And I can tell you, since I have been working for the Ministry of Finance for a few years, that the government realized that it was needed and it has been contemplating to take a decisive action and to start raising a portion of its domestic debt on the stock exchange as well. And finally, in recent months, we have seen that the government did take a decision and did act decisively. And I would say the major credit for that goes to our finance minister, the caretaker finance minister, Dr. Shamshad Akhtar. This realization was already there, the debate was already happening, but she acted with a lot of clarity, with a lot of conviction, and she pushed for it with a lot of force, and it happened. So now we have already had auctions of a few government securities on the stock exchange, and more auctions are lined up, and hopefully in future, more government securities will be issued on the stock exchange. And the other big benefit of this development would be that the secondary market trading will also become more organized and will converge towards a single market, will lead to better pricing, will lead to more availability of data for the investors, because all the trades will be cleared and settled through the clearing company and the central depository company. The taxation on the gains and profits that are being earned on these securities will hopefully be much more efficient, and the government will gain in that aspect as well. And my final point is regarding corporate debt securities. I believe that there have been times when there has been a lot of impetus and growth in the issuance of corporate debt securities on the stock exchange or the listing of such securities on the exchange. But unfortunately, the momentum has not sustained in the past. So the major question we need to ask is, what will it take for more and more corporates to either raise their debt on the stock exchange or list their debt on the stock exchange, even if it is privately placed? I personally believe that now that the government has taken the leap of faith and is using the capital market infrastructure for its own debt raising, this will set the stage and provide more confidence to the corporate sector that they should also follow suit and they should also regularly raise at least a portion of their debt on the stock exchange and issue it in the form of bonds and sukuks and list those securities. And just like they have, the listed companies have enabled the smaller investors to participate in their profits, they will also enable smaller investors to invest in their debt as well. So that is the major question that I want to leave the accomplished participants of today's summit. We have to ask and tell each other what will it take to convince more and more corporates to utilize the capital market infrastructure, to switch, at least to some extent, away from bank loans, and let the banks who are more resourceful and who have a wider reach, let those banks cater to the needs of the sectors and segments of our society and economy which are at this moment relatively underbanked. The capital markets have matured to a great extent, and I'm very sure that they can serve the corporate sector's needs. And hopefully, the stock exchange and the brokerage community will do their best to continue these efforts. And as I said, we will continue to reach out to the corporate sector by holding summits like these and through one-on-one meetings with the corporate leaders. And I have no doubts that although this goal is a challenging one, but now that the government is also moving in the right direction, I am very sure that with time, corporate sector will also utilize the financial markets and the capital market infrastructure to its fullest potential and benefit from it. Thank you very much, and many congratulations to the stock exchange for holding this summit. Thank you.